Hey folks, today I am going to play a paper computer game made by one of you based on Oregon Trail. Let's play a paper computer game. Alright folks, so this is a game that, here is the game itself. This was made by, alright, so here's the deal, right? This was made by someone on YouTube. I'm going to make my face a little bit bigger here. So here's the thing, right? The video that he made this on has since been deleted, and I can't for the life of me remember which channel it was that made it. So I can't give proper credit. I apologize for that. But before he deleted it, he had requested that I do a playthrough of it, and it looks like a really cool game, so I still want to try it. And thankfully, because now I've learned that you guys can sometimes delete your videos or your channels, so I downloaded it before it was deleted, so I actually still have this game here. So I'm going to do a playthrough of it. Now, by the way, I had meant to do this like right when his video originally came out. He had requested that I do a playthrough of it. I never got around to it. Life got in the way. I apologize. I'm now finally getting to it. I don't want to let this go, like miss the opportunity forever, because this is a cool game. I want to play through it, and you requested a playthrough, so here it is. Okay, so here are the rules. First of all, this is an Oregon Trail game. Here's the rules from the video itself. Rules. This is a one-page, technically two, Oregon Trail solo RPG PCG. Just try to survive getting from start to end. Much like Oregon Trail, you're going to need resources. Be careful, there are zombies and a rival party that's also trying to get to the end. The Indians may or may not be hostile. Rivers require some way to get across. Crossing rivers may require money. Mountains are dangerous, snowy, etc. But once crossed, cuts time in half to get to the end point. You need to get to the end point in 10 days. It takes a day to do an action. You also need food, resources, etc. Zombies may infect you. You need guns or knives to protect yourself. Good luck. So here's the map. In Oregon Trail, I understand that you need a party, and he did not provide one, so I drew my own. So here we have, this is my wagon. This is the wagon we're going to be traveling across this fantastic land in. If you try playing this game, you can make your own wagon, but this is mine. It has a tree growing out the top of it, because look, we are going to have a tree growing out the top of the wagon. That's just the way this is going to go. That's just how this is going to go. So we have a tree growing out of it, and here is our party on the back of it. First, we've got Mike. Mike is a huge Twilight fan, so that's why he has Team Jacob on his shirt. Next, we've got the librarian, and just like her title implies, she is a librarian, and not only is she a librarian, she is the best darn librarian you have ever met in your entire life. This librarian is dedicated to cataloging and collecting all the books this world has ever seen. She's gonna like outpace the New York Public Library and the Library of Congress and all that stuff. No, her library, she one day will be the best. She's basically like Ash Ketchum, but instead of for Pokemon, for books. And over here we've got this is King Jose of Fondoland. He is from he claims to be the king of Fondoland. He is from the nation of Fondoland. He may or may not actually be the king. We've only just met him for the first time, so we don't know that for sure. But regardless, he is on this mission representing his nation of Fondoland. He's here to try to increase, as an exploratory mission, to try to increase its resources. And over here we got base. And so we are going to set out on our journey, and so it looks like we start over here. We have a rival party that's going to start over here. Each action is going to take a day. So I think before we go, I think we should. I'm going to say that I've bought some items. I've given myself a starting budget of $1,000. And then, like, I'm going to buy some knives. We'll say that costs 100, so we're down to 900. Then we got a knife for every person. We'll say that costs $100. Then we're going to get some supplies. That's also going to cost 100, so we're down to 800. It looks like we're going to be doing a lot of mountain climbing, hiking, and that kind of stuff. So we're going to need some more supplies for that. I'll say that costs 50, so we're down to 750. And yeah, we are good to go. So, okay, so here we are. We are at the start. Rival party is at their start over here. And we are going to spend the first day, so this is day 1, where we're going to travel to the forest and, you know, start exploring the forest. Now, this is a deep, dark forest by the looks of it, and inside the forest we're going to find a giant spider. And now, of course, the librarian is going to check to see if she has any books on the spider. She does not, and Face, you know, just kind of looks on in concern. But ultimately, we're gonna decide not to engage the spider. Like, it's gonna try to catch us in its web, but because you know, Face kind of flies up and gets a, you know, like he's able to see it before it kind of happens, before we get caught in it. So we just kind of go around the spider, and you know, as we continue to explore the forest, we're gonna run into our first zombies. This is our first clue that this is sort of a zombie infested region. And you know, we have some knives, but we don't want to get that close to them. So King Jose, being a king, so he is accustomed to strategy. So he's gonna suggest that we lure the zombies back to the spider. It works. The spider, like, kind of pounces on the zombies, and we get out of the way just in time. And there weren't that many zombies, so the zombies are taken care of. The spider is taken care of, and but you know, I don't know, something bad might happen to things that eat zombies. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to that spider. We are not waiting around to find out, though. So we are going to continue on our journey, and I think it's safe to say that is the end of that day. So that was day number 1. And you know, as we finish getting to the end of the forest, that's probably going to be another day, I'd say. So, as you know, as we're traveling through the forest, we're gonna notice some berries here and there. We're gonna, you know, there's gonna be little streams of water, so we can replenish our supplies a little bit. So that's good. Even though morale is low, we're just gonna kind of keep going. So now from here, once we emerge from the forest, we have a choice. We can go to Mount Duck, or we can go to Lake Zuvak. And I mean, I guess we could also go head over to the Oregon River and try to cross it, but that doesn't sound like a good idea. I mean, that's pretty far this way, and mountains are hard to climb. So, you know, let's head over to Lake Zuvak. I want to check that out. Meanwhile, I think it's safe to say the rival party went over to Zombie Town. I'd like to see what they do there, but you know, I'm not controlling them, so I don't know what's going on with the rival party. So we're gonna head over to Lake Zuvak and peer into its pristine waters and wonder why it was named this way. I mean, we've all heard of the famous figure of Zuvak. You know, of course, the famous clown on a stick who's been you know, a great hero for all this time. But you know, we like, who named the lake after him? I mean, that's kind of mysterious. But anyway, we peer into its pristine waters to see if we can see anything interesting. And it's almost as if you can just barely, you can just kind of hear a singing coming from the water, and Mike wants to drink from the water because it just looks so fresh and so nice. And King Jose of Fondoland he doesn't agree because it's never safe to drink strange water. But after all, it will save supplies if they drink. And Face looks on in mild concern. The librarian looks up this lake, and once again she just can't find any mention of it, except that there is a folk legend she finds in her book of folklore, which does describe a mystical lake somewhere in the region that grants or causes strange happenings. So since there's no official leader here, Mike decides to drink from it, and okay, so he drank from it. King Jose, seeing that it's safe, King Jose decides to declare this the property of Fondoland. So he plants a flag in Lake Zuvac as part of Fondoland, and that was a bad move, because turns out these waters are protected by the ancient lake nymphs, and now they rise out of the lake in anger, and they place a curse on our party. So for the next day, we're gonna have bad luck. So Face looks on in concern. Mike tries to apologize. King Jose refuses to renounce his claim over Lake Zuvac. So that's just the way things go. But either way, we have used another day visiting Lake Zuvac, so we are up to 3 days now. So from here, we're going to skirt around the edge of Lake Zuvac. Where are we going to head? I think it is... we're probably starting to run into some more zombies now. So, and there aren't any more clever tricks we can pull, so we're just going to have to start using our knives to get past these guys. And we do that. We survive okay. We're fighting the zombies, but it is sort of a harrowing journey, and it's a relief when Fort Brandon comes into view. We finally stop there at Fort Brendan. Now, Fort Brendan is owned by this guy, Brendan. Now, Brendan is kind of a jerk. He's hesitantly allows you to take shelter in there, but only for one day, because he is, his mission is to repel the zombies, but he says only highly important military personnel can really stay there, and he's basically forced to let you stay there because there's a bad zombie outbreak coming from Zombie Town up here. So he'll let you stay there just for one day, but he really doesn't want you staying there. Meanwhile, the rival party is now also making their way over here from Zombie Town. Now, how did they survive Zombie Town? That's very interesting. Meanwhile, we spent a day in Fort Brendan, so that's another day. We're up to 4 days, only 6 days to go. Okay, so we're gonna head over to the giant hole. Now, this giant hole just goes down further than the eye can see, and when we look down into it, there's just nothing. There's just a dead silence. It almost feels like everything around. You suddenly start to notice that that all the birds and the animals, like they've all just quieted down as you approach the hole. And the librarian has a lot of legends in her books that she brought with her about this place. By the way, like she just has like a Kindle, right, or like some kind of a tablet that like where she can remotely access her library. So when I say she brought her books with her, that's what I mean. Like she has remote access to her entire library of books, which have all been digitized. Like as soon as a book is added to her library, it's automatically digitized. Like just by bringing it through the door, it gets scanned by the technology there, and she has access to all of that on her Kindle at a moment's notice. So like this is why she's questing across the world to find like new books, and she can scan them remotely from where she is. So anyway, so she does find some folklore about the giant hole, and it's said that people come here to pay respects, and a lot of people come here to throw coins in or throw offerings, but whatever is thrown, you just get the sense that it's never enough, like as if the hole just wants more than you can give. Face looks on in concern, and Mike says maybe we just shouldn't even throw anything into the hole. The librarian agrees, and even King Jose of Fondoland does not claim the hole as part of Fondoland. He does not want this in Fondoland. I mean, like, this is the thing. Everyone is sort of afraid of this hole, but, you have to pay respects to it. You just have to. And Face gets very concerned here, and he actually flies down inside of the hole. Flies all the way down. No one else can see where he went. He goes all the way down, and then after a few minutes, he just comes back up, and he looks almost somber, morose. And Mike asks him, Face, what did you see? And Face just stares on, impassive. And regardless, we're going to need to get past the Rocky Mountains, and that, I mean, it's like, if we can cut across the Rocky Mountains, it is going to save us a lot of time, but it is going to be a very hard trip, and we're running low on supplies, so I think we have to head over to Indiantown. So it's going to be a 2-day trip to Indiantown. And we do encounter a few zombies along the way, and by the way, like in our battles with zombies, we lose 2 knives. So we're down to just 2 knives, which are not very good to defend ourselves, and we're basically out of supplies. But luckily, we are here at Indiantown. Now here's the thing. Indiantown is the biggest city in the area. It's a huge metropolis, very, very densely packed. There are it's not only got multiple skyscrapers, it's got colleges. It's a very densely packed metropolis, Indiantown. Now the thing about it is that it's had very contentious relations with all sorts of groups in the area, like Brendan from Fort Brendan. He's tried to annex Indiantown in the past, and there have been other peoples from around the area that have just clashed with the people from Indiantown. So they've learned to be very wary of newcomers. So we're gonna try and approach. I mean, we have no choice but to go there. We need supplies. But we think it's best that the experienced diplomat has a chance to address the people. Let him speak first. So King Jose of Fondoland goes first, and he makes his entreaties. He goes, "Welcome, or not welcome, but hello, peoples of Indiantown. I am Jose of Fondoland, and already, you know, this they don't like that. Well, they don't like the whole imperialistic kind of approach. And the librarian, you know, says that, you know, reading about Indian Town in her book, she's like, yo, you know, maybe you should cool it on that language, you know, like King Jose, he's a good diplomat, but he can be a little you know, a little bit much, will come on a little strong, you know what I mean? So he takes that into account. He does try to slow it down a little bit. And, you know, Face looks on with, you know, some mild concern, and they you know, like they do kind of end up parlaying, like brokering, like look, dudes, look, you know, the Indian Town people are like, well, what are you doing? Why are you trying to, you know, go cut across this country? And we're like, well, look, dudes, we're trying to get to this place over here, you know, the end. And the Indian Town people are like, that's a very treacherous journey. But, you know, why should we help you? I mean, like look, we're like we like to help people. We're nice and all that, but like, you know, we've had some contentious relations. You know, a lot of people we helped in the past ended up turning their back. Like, they start a colony and then they, you know, try to annex us, and we're not into that. So maybe we won't help you. And King Jose is like, okay, but look, you know, we're gonna be on your side, like, you know. And Indian Town is like, yeah, you know, I get that, but, you know, like, people say that a bunch, and then they keep trying to annex us. I don't know why. And, you know, the librarian looks it up. You know, it's probably because, like, Indian Town is, like, the only, you know, big metropolis in this area. It's, like, got tall buildings. Everything else is, like, just, like, a lone, haunted, broken hut or whatever. You know, so it is the most valuable thing in the region, you know. Unless you count, like, the magic of Lake Zuba. Okay, it's the most valuable non-magical thing in the region, so, except for maybe a rumored treasure, which is supposed to be buried around here, but, you know, anyway. But ultimately, it's the librarian who has the best idea. She says, look, this is not going to guarantee you're not going to get annexed by us. You know, we may annex you in the future. You know, we'll be straightforward about that, you know, with no promises here. Right? However, you will be getting something out of this deal. If you help us out, we'll help you out, because you will get permanent access to my entire library remotely. So, like, just how she can access it through her, like, little Kindle thing, she will give them the login or the password or whatever. So they can log into her library as well and have that entire treasure trove of information. And they're like, oh, that is very cool. We do like information. So she is like, yeah, I'll give you that, and you give us, you know, some supplies, let us shop around your city and buy stuff, and we'll be on our way. And they're like, okay. So they do that. They shop around the city. You know, we can buy some supplies. We're gonna, like, because Indian Town is, you know, such a big metropolis, prices are higher here because the economy is so strong. So we're going to spend like 200. We're going to go down to 550 to replenish our supplies, and to get more knives, we're going to spend another 200. So we're going to go down to 350, and then this is going to go back up to 4. And we're good. So let's see how many we've spent. 6 days here so far. Meanwhile, rival team went to Fort Brendan. They stayed a few days there because Brendan likes them. Like, he's gonna let rival team stay wherever they want. And then rival team went to Giant Hole. They paid their respects, and now they're crossing over the Rocky Mountains. So if we want to beat them, we have to leave basically immediately. So we're gonna leave, and we give, you know, the Indian Town people access to their library, actually the librarian's library, and then we are going to try to cross the Rocky Mountains. Now this is a very hard trip. it's going to drain basically all of our supplies. So we have, even though we just replenished them in Indian Town, we have basically nothing left. All of our supplies, and you know, the good thing is it's a mountain. There's no zombies climbing up on mountains, because why would they? There's not a whole lot of people up there for them to prey on, and it's a hard trip, and zombies are just gonna, you know, try going the other way. So there's no reason for them to go up the mountain. You know, so we cross the mountain, and it only takes us, let's see, we've gone 6 days. I'm gonna say that takes us another day and a half a day. So we have 3, 6, 7, 7.5 days we've gone. We have another 2.5 days left. The rival team has made it across as well, but because they've been armed by Brendan, they've got arms to deal with the zombies, which are swarming all over here. There's just zombies everywhere. So what do we do? Well, first we try with just our knives, but you know that's not gonna really cut it. So we think of a desperate strategy, which is that we kind of see, like, here's our wagon again, with the tree growing out of it. So we're gonna kind of tilt the wagon forward so that we're at the edge of it, right? Or no, not forward. We tilt it back so that we're kind of dangling over the edge of it. That means all the zombies are going to cluster over here behind the wagon and to try to eat us. So we're gonna, because we're like dangling over them like food, so they're like, argh! And they're gonna push the wagon forward. So like, propelled by zombies, we actually make really good time. We get all the way to the moat in half a day, and then now we have to cross it. Now, luckily the zombies push us right into the moat. Luckily our wagon doubles as a boat. We've prepared for this. We pull up panels which are underneath the wagon, pull them up up here to cover all of this, and then we sail across the moat. Even armed by Fort Brendan, these other guys are still fighting the zombies. They're taking time to fight the zombies. So in one more day, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days, we make it to the end victorious. We have beaten the game, the Oregon Trail paper computer game, and yeah. So we seem to have won. Our team is victorious, and that was a pretty cool game. So thank you for making that. I think it's MCOC. If it's not, I apologize. I forget who made it, but regardless, it was a pretty cool game. Not like an ordinary paper computer game, a different type, but it was a lot of fun nonetheless. So thanks for watching, folks. That's all I've got for today, but there will be more videos coming soon, so thanks for watching.